Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Spawncast episode 298. Bit of a shorter one here, and we're also pre-recording it because we have Christmas this weekend. So Christmas Eve would have been for the Spawncast, but we still wanted to have something up for you guys here. And I realized because they're a week apart, next weekend we'll be pre-recording because that'll be New Year's Eve into New Year's. So technically, we've already had the last live Spawncast of the year, and I didn't even realize it. But we'll still have another pre-record for next weekend as well. Let me go around to everyone who was able to join in today. Bit of a spur of the moment thing, but we got together. We got MVG. How are we doing, MVG?
Hello. Great to be here.
Good
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Yes. We have Sean, RGT.
Happy Hanukkah, as some of us would say.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Calm down. Jeez.
We have OJ Player Essence.
Happy Kwanzaa, as some of us would say.
Okay.
Shout outs to Kwanzaa.
Got Max, Dreamcast guy.
Yeah, happy Festivus. Right? No, that's the other thing I can think of.
And we got Evan.
Yep.
Okay. any plans for this weekend though? Anything good happening?
I have no family, so I'm going to sit on my butt. I'm rebeating all the Final Fantasy VII games. So, and I'm having a blast because, there's nothing coming out for a couple of weeks. I'm just going to 100% all the Final Fantasy VIIs again.
Are you just starting with Crisis Core and then working up from there?
Yeah. So I'm going to do Crisis Core. I'm almost done with 100% of the missions in Crisis Core Remake. So that's that, and then I'm going to do original Final Fantasy VII, do everything, including the gold chocobo stuff. Then Final Fantasy VII Remake, and then maybe Dirge Cerberus.
Well, I like this time of year because it gives me a time to catch up on the games I didn't get to play during the year. So under the tree, I have God of War, so I'm going to play that. I've got Tactics Ogre, so I'm going to play that, and I've got Crisis Core. So I'm going to be good for about a week, man, playing games. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay, very nice. Very nice.
Good, dude.
Yeah, I'm playing some games. So I'm trying to think of what I'll play though. I'm almost done Pokemon. Pokemon's almost completely done. I'll move on from that. But maybe I'll just finish running through Crisis Core. I'll just marathon through that thing a bit. But let's start with a Discord question. Evan, what do you got for us?
Do you plan to go to Nintendo World?
I thought I mentioned this in a video. I think it'd be fun to go over there and get some people from the Spawncast to show up.
I would go.
OJ,
going.
I know it's close to you, OJ. It's not far from me. It's probably about 3.5 hours to drive it. So I'm probably going to go, but I may wait a few months after the initial chaos has died down. I might head out there though.
Those lines are crazy.
They make sure all the rides don't just stop randomly.
Yeah, right.
A lot of the content creators are planning. The ambassadors are planning to go. So they want to have a big meetup. So I was definitely gonna go if they were gonna go.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and then if you guys want to go, of course,
Yeah, I like MVG's idea. Give it a little time to settle because I assume.
I'll go again.
Yeah, I assume the first month is gonna be packed. I mean, the first week is gonna be wild there. So
yeah,
that's a good idea.
It's gonna be nuts. So.
Then they'll have it open. Then they'll have one open in I think down in Florida, Orlando. I think they'll have one.
Yeah.
So that'd be another one to check out. But obviously the one in Japan a little difficult to get to. So, but over in over in Hollywood, that's not too bad.
Mm-hmm. Oh
so,
man, that's about an hour something. Hour 30 from me. Yeah, it's pretty close.
Seems like the move. All right. Maybe we'll check that out. That'd be fun. Have a meet up there and just check out some of the stuff there. Get some video and make a whole vlog or something about it. We just got to somehow get Sean over there. Let's pass the gas station.
I ain't going West Coast. Y'all nuts. I'll go to the one in Orlando. I ain't going on the West Coast.
Well, what's wrong with West Coast, bro?
What's wrong with the West Coast?
Sean hates the West Coast for some reason.
With it. Mm-hmm. You have a rule, don't you? What's your rule?
Don't cross the Mississippi.
Okay.
Look how sunny it is where I am. Look how dark it is where you are. Come on out here, man.
Basement. What are you talking about?
Sean.
It is cloudy and rainy, but I'm still in a basement.
It is actually raining outside.
You left the East Coast. Well, you was kind of East Coast, weren't you? What do they call where you were?
Right in the middle, right?
I was in the Midwest. Dude, I was right in the middle of the country.
Yeah, okay. And look at it now. Dude, Vegas is. I don't understand why Sean wouldn't like Vegas. I think that's your perfect.
That seems
city.
like the place you'd really
seems
like.
Your perfect city, and you're like, I won't go past the Mississippi. It's like, dude, Vegas is like calling your name.
Oh no. Actually,
man.
if Sean goes to Vegas, he's never coming back.
Oh, true. Yeah, he'd visit it and be like, "Well, time to sell my house."
Vegas is totally Sean's. He would love Vegas. I know you
Probably
gotta
end up
be like
dead,
your
let's be
city.
real.
Huh?
I'd probably end up dead in Vegas.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what we
Never
said.
from
You'd never
again.
leave.
You gotta
Sean,
be,
you have an open invite to come through anytime. I've got a spare room for you, man. Make it happen. Let's go.
There you go.
Kind of, what size bed is in there?
It's a queen size bed.
Okay. Yeah, I like
you thought it was a twin? You thought MVG would put a twin in that new house?
This is.
You never
You
know.
think it's Motel 6? Come on now, man.
Okay. What's another Discord question, Evan?
Have you guys thought about speedrunning any of the games you really love?
No.
No.
I feel like that's something where you have to go through it thousands of times. I don't know if I have that kind of like to place on the leaderboards, especially for the platformers that I would probably try to do it on. I don't think it would be very fun. Although Max, you're a Resident Evil speedrunner there for a while, so
Yeah, that's the biggest thing in there, right? That you have to beat it hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. I beat Resident Evil 2 before I did my world record attempt on camera, which is still on my channel if you search it. But the week I set the record, I ended up beating it like I think 100 times. Before I pressed record for the world record, I beat it 7 times in a row back to back, and then pressed record and then my attempt. So yeah, you have to really love one game.
yeah. Hey, back in the day when we were kids and you only had 1 or 2 games, that might have been the time to take a shot at it.
But even then, like I never wanted to beat games fast because now I'm like, man, like, that I don't have anything else to play because I couldn't afford games like that. So I always liked, stretching the game out. I didn't want to speed run, and I wanted to get everything,
Yeah. I feel like I looked around a lot more when I was a kid in these games. Like like if it was an open world game, or even like a faux open world where you felt like you actually had a whole town to explore, like Link to the Past,
yeah,
something
Link
like
to the
that, or
Past,
Mega Man
yeah.
Legends, where I felt like I was in an actual town, and you just kind of look around the corners and all those. But yeah,
Stop
now
every
you
piece of
just
grass.
breeze right by it. Yeah.
Yeah.
My friends and we got obsessed with the original Fable, which is really not that big of a game, but we literally talked to every person and glitched through walls and everything.
I talked to everybody, did every quest in Fable. I did I 1,000,000% did that game.
Yeah.
I had a little bit of money at that time, but not much money for extra games because I was still in college. So yeah.
Okay. Let's go over to we'll start with our first topic here. I put a few topics down. It was a lighter week, but there's still a few things we can go over. Why don't we start with that DualSense Edge controller? Because I saw Max made a video on it. There's some talk around the features, but really there was talk around the price and the battery life. And the price we already knew, it was $200. It's coming out end of January. I'm looking at the features for this controller, and I really just I mean, the Xbox Elite controller, people use it for the macro buttons and the hair triggers and stuff, but that kind of takes away from the DualSense's big feature, which are those triggers.
Mm-hmm.
And the battery life, they said, is moderately shorter than the current DualSense controller. Now, I did pose the question, do people have issues with the battery in the DualSense? And more people than not said they don't run into an issue with it. But I think it definitely comes down to how long you play games at one given time, or if you remember to charge your controller consistently. I've run into issues with the DualSense battery before.
Same.
Oh yeah.
I do constantly.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not because I think the battery life on this thing 5 or 6 hours, maybe.
I think it might be 8 because you could turn down the brightness on the bar and stuff, and I do that. But even still, what I do now is I have one of those double charger stations
I have
right
one of
next to
those,
PS5, and I feel like if I'm gaming all day, I feel like I swap it.
I feel like that is a very necessary accessory.
It is
really.
yeah.
I mean, it's not an expensive one either. I think you can find it on sale most times for like $23 or something. And that's one that I would get. It has a slots for 2 controllers, but really you just sit the controller on it. It gives a nice place for it to sit between playing sessions and all this, and it charges it. Because if you forget to charge that PS5 controller, like I'll forget to charge my Xbox controller at times between like Warzone and all this stuff, High on Life or Halo, and I feel like I would have to charge this thing maybe once a week, if that, the Xbox controller. The DualSense is every time. When I finished playing God of War Ragnarok the other day, I played it for like 4 hours. I was on 1 bar.
Yep.
So
Yeah, I've got one of those, those charging stations. It's just muscle memory for me. Like as soon as I'm done gaming on the PS5, I just plonk it in there because I know it's like I've drained at least 3/4 of the battery on that thing.
I have 2 controllers on it at any given time. So if one runs out when I'm playing, I just switch to the other one.
I got a really long cord.
I know. We saw your picture.
It works.
You put that stand on that PS5 yet?
No.
Okay. It's like right on the floor. Actually, you know what's good about that is it's not carpet, so it's
hardwood.
I've seen some pretty bad setups where people just put their system, especially the 360 back in the day, just plunked it right on the shag carpet.
Yeah.
Like, good luck.
That's a fire hazard.
So hey, you know what? It's on hardwood floor. It's upright like that, Sean. It's actually not terrible. It could be worse.
Yeah. Good ventilation.
There you go. That's a good way to look at it. But now the DualSense Edge is going to have a shorter battery life, and it's $200. So you could technically buy 2 DualSense controllers for $140. That's when you don't find them on sale. Save $60, which could be a God of War purchase. And you'd have twice the more than twice the battery life to switch between them. But that took away from the DualSense Edge to me. I mean, I was curious about it because I do enjoy seeing what they do with these premium controllers. But that price point and then the shorter battery life, I was like, oh, if I wasn't doing YouTube stuff where I'm looking inside the controller, and I'd probably pass on it because I like the regular DualSense as it is. I'm not wanting for something different for it, but a shorter battery life, is this thing 4 or 5 hours long? I don't even know I'm not even sure what's in the controller that makes it do that. Like,
well, yeah, that was the weirdest thing. So I pre-ordered it already, and I'll be honest, yeah, it's cooled my hype quite a bit since Sony's official statement is moderately shorter. So I'm like, man, if PR speak is already preparing us for a shorter battery life, I think 4 to 5 hours is probably a good guess. And I'm looking at the features list right now. I mean, it just has pretty much back buttons and replaceable joysticks. It's like, what part of this is going to sap the battery?
Yeah, because they have hair triggers. All that is just stoppers for the controller not having to pull as far for those triggers on the back, which works well for in shooters where you have like semi-auto weapons. You can fire the gun faster technically, but that doesn't require sapping the battery life of the controller more. I'm not sure what would cause moderately shorter, which could be 10 to 20% even in terms of battery life. So I mean, there's already a small market for these controllers. Like, I don't know a lot of people who are running around buying the Xbox Elite controller, like the Series 2 Elite controller, versus people who just stick with what they have. I feel like that percentage, it's like, it might be 80-20 or something, and that might be high. Yeah. So you get news like that with the DualSense, that's tough. They could have definitely dropped a bigger battery in there, I feel like. And that's unfortunate they didn't. The Xbox Series 2 or the Elite controller, that does have a better battery life. It's sealed, but it gets 30 to 40 hours versus apparently they say up to 30 hours for 2 AA's. I don't believe that. I think it's like 20 hours. But
yeah, there's no way it's that much.
That's really good still though. I don't know. I'm at a point where anything that holds charge over 15 hours, I'm very happy with. Like if it lasts a long road trip, an all-day road trip, to me, that's pretty much infinite.
Like the Switch Pro controller is like 40 hours. I never really think about that.
I need 80 hours. The Wii U Pro controller. Give me 80.
I need wafered GameCube battery life where I change the batteries twice in its life.
I beat Xenoblade Chronicles X on 1 charge.
Yeah, that controller was pretty ridiculous for battery life.
I want that. If it ain't that, I ain't buying.
Even the Switch Pro controller, like I said, is like 40-hour battery life.
I didn't buy that either. No, I'm joking.
But I don't even think about charging. I'm generally surprised when that thing is low on battery. I'm like, oh, really? Huh. Right. I guess I'll plug it in. It's like once a month kind of thing. All right, I'll plug it in, whatever. Because I have like 2 different Pro controllers that I'll go between. But
nice flex there.
Hey, some people have like 8 Switch systems. How many Switch systems you got over there, Sean?
Oh god, that wasn't the question. It's not that many. It's only like
just because it took 2 years to get you to buy a Pro controller.
You bought it for me.
Yeah, and then you take it out of the box and you're like, this is incredible.
It's a good controller, man.
This guy used that dog face controller for so long with those Joy-Cons.
It worked.
That will actually make you play worse. I guarantee that actually
travel on the
worse.
are just bad.
I'm almost positive that you would have played better in certain circumstances with the Pro controller.
I played just fine.
I bet you anything you play better now.
With the Pro Controller, yeah, absolutely. Let's go to another Discord question. Evan, what do you have for us?
John, will you take apart the PSVR 2?
Mhm.
Yeah, I will especially if I can get 2 of them. Because one of them I'm gonna have for myself, and then the other one I'll probably I can just destroy if I have to get it apart. But I guess I am curious the disassembly for that one, because the
Did you take
Quest
did you take the original PSVR apart?
I thought about it and I looked, and there weren't as many people interested in it because it was kind of a small market when it was like first coming out. And then I looked at the disassembly, and it is a pain to get that thing apart. So that's why I'm looking at this one like, I wonder how this will end up being. But I'm curious. Yeah, I'm curious because I don't know if there'll be a lot of disassembly instructions for it. So it might be an interesting thing to explore just to see after I've had some time with it and got some the couple of experiences that'll be there, which is mostly going to be Horizon, 6-hour game. Beat that, and then we'll take it apart. Yeah. What else do you have, Evan?
Favorite NES Mega Man game?
I mean, it's got to be. Most people are going to say Mega Man 2. 6, I liked 6 though as well. You got the little robot dog. You transform in Rush. You got the robot dog suit. Transform into him. You have a little punching arm, and I think I like 2, and then 6, and then 3, and 4, then 1, then 5. I think that's where I'd go in. I haven't played that Anniversary Collection in a long time. The originals. Maybe I'll look at that again at some point. I played the X Collection actually quite a bit still.
Yeah, I played the X Collection like 3 days ago.
Need X9. Need the next Mega Man X game.
It ain't happening.
I know Capcom is really weird. They're a weird company. But let's talk about Final Fantasy Pixel Remasters.
Yeah.
So this is we've been talking about this happening for a while. I know Nate mentioned it forever ago that this was going to happen. It was going to come to consoles because if you remember the reception for this game when it was first announced, everyone was really excited. It was going through all the different games the trailer was playing. It's like, oh, there's 6, there's Final Fantasy 2, there's 5, and then it was like cell phones and Steam. Everyone just immediately got mad. It just flipped completely. But they are coming out. They're coming to the Switch and PlayStation. That's spring 2023. They announced it at 1 a.m. my time over the weekend, just like Saturday night. I understand in Japan it was like
It was 3 p.m.
early. It was
midday.
afternoon, right?
Yeah.
But it was still on a Sunday. It's like they announced it randomly on a Sunday. You figure you do it during the week or something. No, and they opened pre-orders all at the same time across the world. They didn't stagger it by region or time zone or any of that. So the physical copy sold out in about 30 minutes. I managed to catch one because we just saw it randomly go up. But they hit for $75, and then Square charged $25 in shipping. I don't really know why.
Yep,
If scalpers on eBay can do it, so can we.
I didn't check eBay yet for it.
Well, and I feel like
Are they coming from Japan though? Are they shipping from Japan?
better be.
Maybe that's why.
I kind of assumed that's why the $25 charge was there, because otherwise, I mean, the only option is to get they put it on the boat, and it takes literally months to get here, and that's the cheapest option. I think 25 is probably why, because it's coming from Japan. That's a guess though.
I checked some of the so I checked on eBay just now. There's a listing for $500 for the PlayStation 4 version of Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster, just the regular one.
Just the regular?
Yes.
What's
Crazy.
selling though?
Let's see. It said one sold. Let me see what the price was on it for the listing. Don't know. Let's see. Here we go. It sold for $400.
A regular one?
Yes.
Wow.
And I guess they then moved the price up to $500 for the second one they have.
I do think this is going to be one of those extreme collector's items, because I have a lot of weird Final Fantasy collectibles, and a lot of those, I don't know why Square Enix, like everybody hates them for this. They'll just release like one random batch, and if you miss it, it's just gone. Like they do super special editions for Final Fantasy VII Remake, and those sold out in like 35 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, so I think I see what's going on here on eBay. Some of them are coming out of Japan, and those are not valued as highly, I guess, as the as the ones that are pre-ordered in the US, interestingly enough, because it says here that it's listed as a North American version, but then they have the collection for Pixel Remaster, $1,000.
Jeez.
And they have 11 people watching it right now. So
Hey, look, these classic games on disc, very valuable. Just trying to tell people.
someone bought it for $225 for the Switch version. Wow.
Keep in mind sealed. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm getting mine graded. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's gonna show
Wada?
up in too many games with the Wada poster.
Sealed.
May as well.
Sealed, baby.
Do like
That 9.8 on it.
what's the Jake Paul wearing the Pokemon card around his neck? I'm just gonna walk around with Final Fantasy around my neck.
Yeah, so it's that what a strange reveal and release for that one. But I'm looking forward to getting it in, checking it out. I'll open the thing up. I'll take a look, see what's going on. There better be reverse cover art. There better be a manual. There better be a really nice looking cartridge. Thing $100.
There better be stickers in that.
I need it
bitch.
all. Yeah, there better be stickers. There'll be a lot going on. The $75 price, by the way, was brought up by a lot of people as like they were very confused on it, and maybe that's one reason they ran it through their own store, because that seems like a very strange price for a physical copy of a game like that to show up in Walmart or Target. That is the price though of them on Steam, like the bundle, all of them.
Yeah.
So I assume that's what they reflected it. They're like, this is same price as that. Same price.
So
as
you're
that.
saying on the eShop we're going to pay the same amount for all of it, $75,
I
like a
don't think
digital?
so.
Yeah, I would assume so. I think it's gonna be 75, because if you bundle them all together, what they had on Steam, it was $93 or $94, but they had it discounted down to 75. So I think they're doing that thing where they put them together and they're like, hey, this is how much it's supposed to cost, but we got you. Don't worry. We're the good guys. We'll give you a discount down to 75.
My one thought is, I'm curious as a trophy hunter if each of these games is going to have a separate platinum, because it would be cool, because some of the Resident Evil re-releases did not have a platinum at all. So that's my thought, is that if we get all 6 games sold individually, it would be cool if you could actually do 6 platinums.
I can look to see if they have Steam achievements. Okay, so Final Fantasy 1 and 2 are $12 each, and then 3, 4, 5, and 6 are $18 each. Let me see. It does have a Final Fantasy 6 has Steam achievements.
Yeah, I've beaten all of them on Steam. I bought them all individually and beat them all. So I have all the achievements on there, but sometimes trophies are a little bit different.
Yeah, I would assume that, because each one's going to be viewed as its own SKU. So I would assume that they will have trophy support, which, hey, that'll be pretty cool, right? To see that. So that I think is, I think that's a pretty big positive there for that side, especially people really looking for those trophies. There was one other thing that people noticed immediately, and this has been an ongoing thing for Square, but sometimes they kind of go the opposite direction on it. No Xbox version for this, by the way.
Yep.
Or Pixel Remaster. Nothing. No X. I thought it had a shot at Game Pass, like, because we saw Final Fantasy games like 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. They all went into Game Pass, right? Square just dropped them in there. I assume Microsoft gave them the check and all this. Sure. This is one that if I was Microsoft, I would have moved on this one to get them in the Game Pass. I guess they still could, because this was mostly just like, they're not going to release it physically on the Xbox. They've bypassed that a couple of times, I believe, with other titles. And this is a very limited release that was clearly geared towards Japan, just based on when they announced it. So I'm still holding out a bit of hope for the Xbox gamers out there that they will announce something when it's actually ready to come out, because we don't have listings for individual prices or digital SKUs or any of that yet. Maybe they say, oh yeah, they are going to Game Pass, where you can buy them separately in Xbox.
It'd be trippy. I don't know. What is it? I saw an article today that said that on the current Square Enix calendar, there are 0 Xbox releases for all of 2023. Like, no games at all are coming to Xbox from Square Enix next year, which is just bonkers.
Square. I mean, they just dropped Final Fantasy Crisis Core on there.
Crisis Core just came out.
Yeah,
so.
it just came out.
And it plays really well on the Xbox. So it's just all it comes to. People are confused on it's scattered, right? Like,
that's the thing. It's either like, just don't do it at all, or like,
yeah,
randomly show up on Crisis
They get
Core.
like DioField, but then this doesn't. It's
weird for that.
Yeah, it's a case by case basis. It really is, and the reason why it is because Xbox in Japan, the presence is just not there. There's no sales. It's not conspiracy theory. It's not Sony's paying. We saw people saying that the Sony's paying them, to put games. It's not that. It's just Xbox has no sales in Japan. The game sales aren't even published. Nobody even knows any numbers for any of the big Japanese game sales for Xbox. So most of the time, if that's the case, like they're not going to, if it's this, they're not going to spend the money on it. It's not a charity. They're not going to do it just because. If they don't feel it's going to do anything, then they're just not going to put it. Now, in some games, it's an easy port, or maybe it's better for them, or maybe they have the budget for it, but it is a case-by-case thing. And when you have no presence, and when you have no games that have sold a significant amount, when it comes to Japanese titles, and classic games have not done as great either. When it comes to Japanese classic games, we don't get any sales numbers. We can see for PlayStation, we can see for Nintendo, but you can't just hide behind the whole, we don't know what the sales numbers are. Well, they're not great, or we know what they are.
Yeah.
Square Enix
Companies brag.
Yeah, Square Enix just announced that Triangle Strategy sold 1 million copies, like it just shipped over 1 million. Oh, well, that's on Switch, that's on PC, but we know that 800,000 of that plus came on Switch. So we get those sales numbers, but nobody ever says any sales numbers particular to Xbox. So like I said, I'm not trying to start some type of drama. I'm just, that's just the truth. Like it doesn't sell very well. Sometimes there's a budget for it and they do it. Sometimes it doesn't. That's just how it is.
It's also just a weird company at times. I mean, the fact that they took Kingdom Hearts and made it cloud versions on the Switch rather than port them fully, like stuff like that. It's like, what is Square doing right now? Then they'll do things like, oh yeah, here's Final Fantasy 16, and we're like, all right, Square's got to figure it out. So
Sony gave quite a bit for that too. They're like, hey, we'll pay for it, so we'll get that done. I mean, and also you look at like the Game Pass numbers and stuff like that. I mean, Square Enix had some bangers on Game Pass, and those barely even climbed.
Here's the interesting thing, and I saw this talk quite a bit over the last week, and I think it's because Digital Foundry mentioned it in their video. They had brought up the fact that sales collapsing on the Xbox when it comes to games, and they had talked about some of the sales that we're tracking, and I assume it's because if you look at like the UK sales charts, we'll get some of the breakdown from games industry as things happen week to week. The Xbox sales are typically a good bit lower than what we see for PlayStation in that region when it comes to just like percentages of the games. And they brought up the idea that they say the prevalence of Game Pass has collapsed sales, and I think even John over there, Linneman, mentioned it collapsed about 80% versus where they were prior to Game Pass, and that's been something going around now. Is Game Pass affecting the sales to that degree? Yeah, on that system where Square Enix might be like, maybe it's not worth porting these and taking a chance on it unless Microsoft shows up with the bag.
Yeah, the bag, the Octopath bag, the Dragon Quest 11 bag. They got bags for multiple different Japanese RPGs before from Square Enix.
Yeah. I mean, we don't have the numbers or anything ourselves to be like, oh yeah, this is definitely a thing. I mean, Microsoft has them, but it is interesting that comes up, and it comes up quite a bit for Game Pass, because I guess in that case, if you're someone who subscribes to Game Pass, you have plenty of things to play, and you don't necessarily need to go out and just buy games as much as you might if it didn't exist.
It's kind of true, though. I mean, you would think that Game Pass...
it makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. And the digital sales aren't accounted for, too. So Xbox has a high rate of digital sales and has a high rate of Game Pass. So those two things are absolutely, it shows in the physical sales charts, because Japanese games never chart in Japan and on the Xbox.
Right.
And then you look at over here in the US, like it's always, in terms of what they're announcing, it's always like digital sales are really high rates on Xbox and Game Pass. So yeah, that has to affect it.
And the Xbox Series S doesn't even have a disk drive, and that's the most popular system right now.
Exactly.
So it's hard to track that on physical sales charts, but it is something that was brought up, and I'm like, something to think about, I guess, with Game Pass and what it could do to their ecosystem with third-party games. But hey. We'll see.
Crisis Core is out. Plays good. I bought a copy on it. I bought an extra copy on Xbox. So
pick it up. Xbox gamers, pick it up. It's a good game. It's a good game. Absolutely. Evan, you have a Discord question over there?
I know some of the members of the Spawncast have been playing Warzone / Modern Warfare 2. Have any of you had the chance to check out the raid?
No, we looked at that, didn't we? On the main menu, the raid that they have. It needs like 3 people, and you need to have certain requirements met. I haven't tried that yet.
No, I haven't tried it yet either. What are the requirements? We can run it. What do we need to do to do it?
Finish in the
three
top
people.
20 of Warzone, which we've done a
I've done that
lot.
a few times.
Yeah, we came in second place a couple times the other night or last night, and I think that's it.
I think they said that it doesn't have a matchmaking. So I've heard, funny enough, part of the problem with it is that we have to, like, as a party, go into it. You can't, like, find people
You need
online.
three people total. You can't have more or less. Basically, it's like you need 3 people.
I've heard some people just can't find 3 people because they're antisocial.
I don't know what it does for you though. Like, what would you get out of the raid necessarily? I don't know if you get experience guns, but I don't
Probably
know.
get a pink gun skin and double XP.
You
and,
get,
And a
I
map
think
to where all the
I
bathroom
read
stalls are.
it's operators. I think the main thing you unlock is it's like new character models for the multiplayer.
Yeah, that's fun. That's fun. Okay. Do you have another one, Evan?
Who's everyone's favorite voice actor?
Oh,
Planet Taylor.
I got real answer for me, Steve Bloom. So
I was waiting for that.
okay.
I mean, it's got to be David Hayter. Come on.
Yeah.
It has to be David Hayter.
Okay. Yeah,
I'm sticking with mine. I don't care.
Taylor.
No, the guy from Fire Emblem Three Houses, that dude that played Claude, that guy's awesome on Twitter. Shout out to him.
Okay.
Joe, I think that's his name.
Joey Jojo.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
All right. What's another Discord question, Evan?
Yuga Labs, the people behind Bored Ape Yacht Club, just appointed Activision Blizzard president and CEO as their new CEO. Any interest or thoughts?
LOL, LMAO.
They just handed a guy a bunch of money who I don't
That's
know is
weird.
gonna
I don't-
change anything about
What is
them.
that supposed to? Are they trying to come up with a game or something with their
but why do you-
NFT money?
But why do you hire the CEO to make it? Why not? Don't you hire people who make games? Actually,
Because he knows people, I guess. Maybe he can bring people from Activision with him and like hire this person, and they can help us make a game. I don't know. That's all I can think of is that they have knowledge as to who to hire, and the thing with those, a lot of the crypto companies, they tend to just overspend on everything. They probably spent this CEO probably gave him way too much money to pull him, but they would then probably try to poach people and just give them way too much money, and most likely it would eventually implode anyway.
I feel like if you're going to do that, you might as well just snipe someone out of the HR at one of these companies who has the list of names of people that work on this stuff.
Could do that too.
Like,
Could
it
do
would
that
have been
too.
much cheaper.
That's fair.
Yeah. I mean, in their mind, they're like, hey, let's get a person who can organize, manage this thing, and get it to the finish line for us. So that's all I can assume now is that I guess they have enough money to try to do something like that. All these crypto games look just terrible from the outside side. I don't know. And maybe they want to make a Call of Duty type game and have crypto in it or something. Who knows? Most likely it'll implode in like a year, if that. So we'll see. Let's talk about there was an article that popped up that got a lot of people talking. It was about the Switch and its age over the last year or so. That was the whole thing. But there was something that was brought up in there. This was from the Verge, and I had to stop and think about it for a minute. And I'm like, you know what? I get that comparison a lot whenever a game like Pokemon or Alan Wake or whatever have issues. One game always comes up to kind of show people that the Switch is capable of a lot. I feel like most of you guys know what game I'm talking about.
The Witcher 3?
No, like the Breath of the Wild is always brought up,
Oh, yeah.
Why?
right? Because it's the game that looks and runs and does so much on the Switch. And it's like, hey, Pokemon should have been a lot better because we have games that do it like Breath of the Wild.
I think some of the third-party ports are more impressive than Breath of
Really?
the Wild.
Yeah.
Okay.
sure.
Well, that was my question.
Breath of the Wild is a
Breath of the
Wii U
Wild
game. No,
still
it's a
the
Wii
most
U.
impressive Switch game.
No, I don't. No.
Launch game.
What third party ports do you think is? I'm not arguing. I'm just asking what third party ports do you think are better?
I think Doom is better.
Yeah.
We're just talking about strictly performance or visuals or stuff like that. Because we got to remember the whole core.
And I would say scope of the game too.
I definitely got to put my I just think The Witcher 3 is an impossible port.
The Dying Light, I think, is super good as well.
Oh,
from a
yeah.
technical standpoint. Alien Isolation is super good from a tech. I mean, as far as open world games are concerned, I mean, you could probably argue Breath of the Wild and Witcher 3 to some degree or something like that. But I mean, if that's the technical benchmark for the Switch, that's just kind of sad considering that's a Wii U game.
That was what was brought up in the article, is that was a launch game that was technically moved from the Wii U, and it's still for a lot of people, the most impressive Switch game. I could actually, I could look at Mario Odyssey and be like, that's impressive because it did run at 60.
Yeah.
It was a 60 FPS game that was a very, very well done 3D platformer, and it had a lot of variety to the levels and all the different things that you would expect to kind of stress the Switch a bit. Big dinosaur and stuff, and it was still 60 frames, which is great. But Breath of the Wild, just based on the scope of the game, the open world, and the interactivity with the world, which, by the way, whenever these guys over here playing Call of Duty, they're mad because they can't shoot the soda can off of the desk or something.
I mean, I could in previous Call of Duty. It's lazy.
Okay, you can in Breath of the Wild, you can chop down a tree and just kind of roll it around and put it in the water, like have it go across a bank or something for you to make it easier. There's so much interactivity in that game and the physics and all of this that even from like a design standpoint, it is extremely impressive. But that is also a launch game for the Switch, and that basically, without imply, is that was the ceiling for the Switch up until this point.
It was also a Wii U game. I mean, it came out on the Wii U.
It did come out on the Wii U, yes, it did. And
it wasn't compromised or anything.
It does. It's not. I don't think it quite runs as good, but yeah, it literally looks the same though. So
yeah, I think it's a lower resolution mostly.
Yeah,
I think it's 720p or something there, and then it's like 900p on the Switch. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I would argue, for me at least, I don't think enough people played Xenoblade 3 is pretty impressive in terms of what they did there and what the improvements they were able to make over Xenoblade 2, in my opinion, in terms of like open world game scope and scale.
I'll tell you how that game would beat Breath of the Wild if I could climb a mountain. If I could climb and then glide down, I'd be like, you know what, this is it right here.
You can't climb and glide down. You can climb certain parts, but yeah, you can't freely climb anywhere that you want. But Breath of the Wild is only one character, on screen fighting, whereas Xenoblade has up to 7 and a bunch of enemies all fighting you at the same time, and it's seamless. Like it goes right into the battles. You can leave the battles whenever you want. So I don't know. To me, that's pretty impressive. If every third-party developer had, put that amount of time or effort, clearly Pokemon is not putting that amount of time or effort,
Pokemon, yeah. Well,
it's just like everyone's been saying, man. It's definitely time. It's definitely time. I think that we're gonna see something maybe next year. So I think
everyone's really hopeful that we're gonna see a new Switch or just something to improve on the hardware next year. And the fact that Breath of the Wild was such a landmark moment for people, where I've seen people, I have no idea they played games. They're like, yeah, it's Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild is my favorite one. Stone Cold Steve Austin said that's his favorite. That's the best Zelda game is Breath of the Wild.
He didn't know what he was talking about.
He knew exactly what he was talking about. He knew exactly what he was talking about. Yeah. He knew exactly what he was talking about.
Stone Cold said so.
You questioning Stone Cold right now, Sean?
It was verified that it was a setup by Cody.
I don't know.
No. It's Breath of the Wild, man. It's Breath of the Wild. It takes me back to the first time that I played the original Legend of Zelda. A lot of people get caught up on Zelda 64, with Ocarina and say, "Oh, that's Zelda." It's like, well, no, hold up. The original Zelda, there's still that. That's and that's what made me love video games, was the original Legend of Zelda. So I like Breath of the Wild, but not everybody likes the format and function. I understand the shortcomings.
I think the big landmark moment then would be the Tears of the Kingdom. Just, they haven't shown a lot of it, but from what they've shown with the idea of it being very vertical, multiple levels to it, and still have that same kind of discoverability and interaction with the world, that I think is going to be the next big, okay, this is what the Switch is capable of kind of moment. Because up until this point, people keep telling Breath of the Wild, and Sean's right, that's technically a Wii U game. So
yeah,
I'm hoping new hardware this year coming up. Pair it with Tears of the Kingdom.
No, I don't think they're gonna have Tears of the Kingdom. The hardware out before Tears of the Kingdom, or launch.
We'll
with
just
Tears
have a patch either way. If it's after Tears of the Kingdom, have a patch or something ready for Tears of the Kingdom to take advantage of it. Even if it's backwards compatible, it's like, okay, here's a patch that we're just putting out there. It doesn't necessarily say what it does, but it moves the frame rate up. It makes it look better. It pushes it to whatever, take advantage of that new system or new features. Maybe they have, maybe it's a high refresh screen in the handheld side of things, and like, oh wow, Tears of the Kingdom was running at 144 hertz or something crazy like that, 120 hertz.
companies should really be utilizing NDI though. I mean, let's be realistic here to get the most out of the Switch games.
Thank you, Sean.
No
Go
problem.
on. Go on.
Look at Vroom in the Night Sky. That's a banger title.
Room
know
in the
that-
Night Sky. Wow, it's been a long time since I heard that.
Yeah,
now.
it's been a while since I heard about that game.
Is that a real game? I don't know what you're talking
Yeah, that was one of the worst
Yeah.
games released on like this. This was back when the eShop was like still kind of young, and it was weird to see like these shovelware looking games pop up. Now it's like constant, but back then it was weird, and it was a game that I think got a 1 out of 10 on one place.
about. Wow.
And you play it, and you're like, yeah, this is. It looks like an early. It looks like a Newgrounds game, kind of.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, on the Switch, but it was it was not great, not great. So that I think is a lot of people's hope right now, is that there is something new from Nintendo in the next 12 to 18 months.
I don't think that's a lot of people's hopes though, because you say something like that, and then I'm sure the comment section of this video.
Let me explain why, because you guys seem to be confused. People are tired of the whole Switch Pro type of stuff, because we faked them out for how many years? They're tired of that ish. And I'm telling you, that is the reason why people push back.
But
Are they more tired of that,
Switch
or
Pro
the games coming out that can't even go lock?
Yeah,
30?
what's a bigger
Which one's
deal?
worse right now?
They're not tired of that, because
They
while
love it,
we
they
have an
just enjoy
opinion,
it.
they're not tired. While we have an opinion, people are playing the games just fine. They boot up Splatoon, it's just fine. They boot up
Splatoon looks
Xenoblade,
good,
it's
though.
just fine.
Yeah,
they
Splatoon
boot
is
up
an outlier.
I guess
everyone's buying Mario Kart 8
for weeks after
okay.
it released.
Mario
y'all
Kart 8
wanna listen
Deluxe
to
is
me?
good too.
A Wii U game.
Y'all don't want to listen to me. But I'm telling you,
Another Wii U game.
My thought, OJ, and I'm not pushing back.
I'm
to
telling you.
I'm saying that
syndrome.
my thing is that I put out a video yesterday saying I think we need a new Switch, and my entire comment section, I didn't lose any subscribers in it, but my entire comment section is like, no, I want the Switch for another 3 years. I have literally over 1,000 comments on that video, and a majority of them are saying I don't want a new Nintendo Switch, which is very baffling to me. That literally
you the
hundreds
reason- And I'm telling you the reason why. The reason why is that while everybody here, we all, frame rate, Digital Foundry, most people, the majority of people don't have an issue because they've been playing ghetto ass stuff since the Game Boy days, and they don't look at frame rate counters. They just play the game and they have fun. That is the majority of people. And we can sit here and get all upset and pouty about it all we want to, but it's the facts. I'm sorry.
is what makes it weird
There's a stark difference between a Digital Foundry person who watches every Digital Foundry video and is like, oh, look, the Xbox version goes down to 59, the PS5 version is at 60, and just playing a game and being like, holy hell, like what is going on?
like
There's a
the
big,
amount-
it's not, I wouldn't say it's as black and white as the situation has made it to be.
No,
Some
yeah,
people have just convinced themselves that this thing is going to last forever, and I'm just like,
Yeah,
why?
and to that point, I've also come across people who've just moved from the Switch to any other system. They don't know frame rates, but they're just like, damn, it's smooth. That's all that matters to them at that point, is like, wow.
And I think
better of
for
an
a long time,
experience.
I think the Nintendo Switch for a long time was also the best supplemental console. I knew a lot of people that had a PlayStation 5 and bought every Nintendo Switch game, or people that had like a $5,000 PC and a Nintendo Switch to play on the go. And I feel like the Steam Deck for a lot of people is filling in that gap. So I think that the Nintendo Switch got to figure out some way to get closer to actually looking like it's from this decade.
I agree with you guys. From someone, I want something too, but I'm telling you that is not reflective of what people are playing and people are buying. The sales numbers are coming out. People are still buying it in droves. People are still buying hella games. People are still excited for the games. It still won a ton of awards at the Game Awards for people voting. I get it. Like, trust me, I get it. But people are tired of the whole. They don't care. Whenever Nintendo puts out something, they'll buy it, the next Switch or whatever. But until then, they're just gonna play that. That's why there's a lot. I'm trying to explain why there's a lot of pushback, because I'm telling you, people don't give a shit. Yes, some people have moved on, but Steam also was giving away Steam Decks. We saw the sales numbers of Steam Deck, and it's not sold in stores. It's not sold where people can actually buy it. They've only got a storefront for Steam Deck. They don't. It's not in Best Buy. It's not on Amazon freely. It's just not. It's sold 1 million in about a year or something like that, right? A little bit. They've sold a little bit over a million of them, right?
But isn't that more so manufacturing?
Yeah, manufacturing. What I'm trying to say, it's not. I'm not saying that it's not good for what they've done. What I'm saying is that most people aren't going to move on to Steam Deck when it's not sold as widely as Xbox,
Right.
PlayStation, or Nintendo. You can't put up the numbers that Nintendo, Xbox, or PlayStation does when you only sell it through your storefront and not on Amazon, not on Best Buy, not completely worldwide, not everywhere. So most people don't have the option to move on to Steam Deck or anything like that, or they don't have the money to move on to PC gaming. They're just gonna play their Switch, and when the next one comes out, they're gonna do that. Like I know people in the comment section are probably gonna be mad at me for saying this and think I'm defending it or whatever, but it's really not the case. When the new Switch comes out, I'll buy it. I'll play it. I'll enjoy it.
Here's
I'm
how.
just saying it's the facts. It's just how it is.
Here's how we should do this then. If people are happy with their current Switch, just put the Switch Pro out and run this thing another 3 years.
That could happen.
That's not. Hey, we're trying to make everyone happy. Just do that. Just drop it. If people are happy with the Switch now, they don't have to buy another one because they'll play the same games.
I mean, that was the whole.
That would actually probably be better than a Switch 2 now I think about it, because then everyone's happy.
That was one of the big things when the Switch first came out that we talked about, because a lot of the games were coming out with that scaling texture and everything, and it sounded like if they put out better hardware, the old games would still work and just look better. So that was one of the key things when it was coming out, when we started talking about it, that I was like, yes, this will be great. But now it's, I mean, we're just here watching games just chug in all its performance and just nothing on the horizon. And it's like, all right.
All the cloud games.
Well, to be fair, they could randomly announce something and then it's like, oh, okay, here we go. Like they could do that where it's like it's out in 3 months because it's not like the next gen thing. But if it's next gen, I assume they want like a like a 5 month, 8 month run up or something.
But but I don't know if that's better. Like you should have announced that back when you started to notice the games chugging. Or like, is that like the hero moment for them? Is like, we know you're mad that things can barely hit 20 frames and everything feels bad when you're playing it in handheld and it's just not
Evan's
great.
going off. I love it.
Yeah, but so like, here's the better one. Like, why wouldn't they have done that earlier?
They don't care about frame rate and all that. They
just
literally
don't care
don't.
about the experience. That's why
That's
why the main menu
if the
on the
experience
Switch
is better.
still sucks. It's why the online, even in their better version in games that use it, still suck. Like they just don't care.
They don't care about the frame rate, even when it's in their advantage. They don't, like with Zelda Skyward Sword, 60 frames. They never even mentioned 60. Never mentioned the number 60 at all. Splatoon 60. Never mentioned 60. Smash 60. Never mentioned it. So they don't care one way or another.
But they
just put out the game.
They don't have to mention it. That's the thing. Like it's just achieve some semblance of smooth gameplay at all. Doesn't need to be 60. Just smooth. Just enjoyable. Like actually enjoyable.
I want a Switch 2 personally.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people want the next thing, but I get OJ. You're saying the mainstream is responding to the current platform and games with money, and Nintendo's like, we're making money off this. We're gonna keep selling it, but you feel like they might be forced into it because how much longer are they making this X1? That's my other thought is how much longer are they producing this thing?
Based on the software pipeline that I've looked at, most of the Nintendo's developers have moved on to the next thing. Monolith Soft has moved on to the next thing. Everybody's pretty much moved on to the next thing. So that's why I think it's going to be a 2024 launch, maybe early 2024 launch, maybe late 2023 or 2024. I know there's a number of studios internally that have already moved on to the next Switch, and they're probably doing maybe some of them have some cross-gen stuff. So I would anticipate that it's going to be announced in 2023 and released in early 2024. That's what I'm guessing, but it could be something different. It could be announced and released in 2024. It could be announced and released in 2023. I don't know, but based on what I know in terms of software, a good number of developers have already, started moving on to the next thing for Nintendo.
Have you started MVG? What's going on over there?
No.
Shit. You're the problem.
I mean, honestly, I have no idea anymore. Like, I thought maybe it was going to be this year that we would hear about it, and that's not any inside info or anything. That's just kind of how I felt about it. So I couldn't really say. Honestly, at this point, I don't even know. We could be on the Switch for another couple of years.
Let's go.
Jesus.
I really don't know. But yeah, I don't have any insight as to what's going on. Third parties, especially kind of small third parties, we're at the bottom of the food chain, man, when it comes to this stuff. I mean, does Capcom and Ubisoft have insight onto this? They probably do, but hopefully we'll hear about it at some point.
I mean, eventually third parties just won't be able to do much with the hardware. As like Genshin Impact still isn't out, and apparently there have been rumors that it has to do with hardware
Yeah, there was
issues.
an interview where they said they wanted it to perform better because they want the console version on it instead of the
We're still missing that
version.
Star Wars game from Zynga, and aren't they the ones who like were sourced in? Oh yeah, we have a next gen dev kit or something.
Yeah,
I was gonna include that game. That game's weird. On the eShop, it says that it's 300 megabytes.
Star Wars Hunters. I think that's just the. Well, I think that's just a
Client.
I think that's the client. Yeah, because then it has to download updates for it being a live service online arena shooter game. Yeah, I mean it still says on their website it's arriving in 2023. So I don't know. It just says Nintendo Switch, iOS, and Android. So maybe they're just having development issues in general behind the scenes.
I just feel like, and this will be my last thing on it. I said this towards the end of my video that I put up about this, but I just feel like the Nintendo Switch feels like it's so far behind now. And the specific example I gave is that it's weird that Final Fantasy 16 is about to come out and Final Fantasy 15 can't run on the Switch. Like that's my thought, is that it just shows that like as much as I had fun with the Switch, it's now I just don't care about it. I just don't want to play anything on it if I can.
That Luminous engine, man. Let's see what happened to Forspoken. Oof.
You need to use NDI, man. That's the key.
Forspoken was like, what was that on the PS5? Like 720p or something?
Was it really? Jesus.
That was wild. Digital Foundry did a video on it. I was like, I knew that game was having some issues when I was playing it because it was like, well, this isn't looking great. But to hear those kind of numbers is like, wow, I guess I would, when you notice resolution to that degree just playing it, it's got to be bad. Yeah, didn't turn out great. Well, most of us, or most people who are, I'll say, plugged in online, would be excited for new hardware. We're probably looking forward to hearing about it, but Nintendo being dictated by the mainstream right now. And last time they had that going from a successful system to another was the Wii to the Wii U. So here's hoping they did learn from that.
The sales tanked with the Wii. The sales tanked, and I feel that they rushed. I feel that they rushed to get something out. Because the Wii U was not complete on the OS level. It was not as fast as they wanted it. They even Satoru Iwata even admitted that. I think now with the Switch, they're having success. Just take your time and build up whatever you're going to do next, and then have a launch lineup that's lit. You know, have a launch lineup that's dope and that people want to get into and people want to play. Xbox can do that. Microsoft and Sony, they can just sell pro systems and just play the third party. But I think that with Nintendo, you gotta have those games that kind of show, okay, well, here's the lineup, here's the the Splatoon and ARMS, and here's all the games that are coming out to buy the system. Right. So that's how I feel, at least, because that's what the success of the Switch was. That's how the Switch got success. Whereas the Wii U, it had all that third-party support at launch. It had all that stuff people were saying that they needed, and it got destroyed. It got bodied. So
Nintendo's first-party offerings on the Wii U didn't really help either.
But everyone said that they needed third-party. It wasn't the first part. Everyone said third-party. That was the overwhelming majority of people said we need third-party. They had all the third-party. They said there's the third-party.
And older games that were already available.
Nobody cared. That's what I'm trying to say. Nobody cared. Nobody cared about the third party. Even when third party came out later on the Wii U, nobody cared about the third party in that way. Hell, even sometimes if it was day and date. So they need to make sure that their first party is set and ready to go. That's how they're going to sell the system. It's going to be based off their first party. It's not going to be based off of I can play this game frame rate in this. It's going to be based off of what they do first party wise, because that's what the Switch was successful with, is that it had all that great first party content. Legend of Zelda. I mean, like.
People were also confused as to what the Wii U was.
That's true. That's true.
That was a nightmare at retail.
Still not sure.
But if it launched with Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, it would have helped. They would have came in and asked about that tablet. It's like, no, there's a system attached to it. Oh, it's not a tablet for my Wii? No, there's a system with it.
I know they hid it behind the stage when they showed it off, but
with the Switch, it was indeed just the tablet. So it was a lot easier than that was what they were trying to do with the Wii U, clearly, but they couldn't get there. And then they were able to. So when people came in and asked for the tablet with the Nintendo logo, it was easy to sell because that's all it was. So the Wii U was just a weird thing to try to explain to parents. So, but we were still selling 3DSs left, right, and center at that time. So, Evan, we have Discord questions.
I got an IPS V2 Game Boy Advance and have bought Minish Cap, Tony Hawk 2, Final Fantasy Tactics, and Mario Golf Advance Tour. What other games do you recommend, even if it's on Game Boy or Game Boy Color?
Metal Gear Solid on
Fusion.
Game Boy Color.
I would look to the Mega Man Battle Network series. I know we're getting a whole collection for them, but there's still good ones to collect and play on that IPS screen. They're very colorful games.
Oh yeah.
Mega Man Zero, those are good too. Golden Sun.
You just grew up playing those, and you have to hawk them.
Same.
Battle Net. What's wrong with Battle Network? What? There's a whole Sean. You play the collection. Let me know what you think. You're just mad because it's kind of a card game. You're just mad. You're just mad because. Hey, Marvel Midnight Suns is better than you think, Sean. Go ahead and play it.
Okay. Metal Gear Solid on the Game Boy Color is probably one of the best games. There's a lot of good RPGs on there too. There's like a Lufia game, some Dragon Quest games on there. I don't know if you like RPGs and stuff. If you do, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I talk about Nintendo and RPGs.
You just pitched this person a $150 Game Boy game.
Well, get
I'm assuming they're
card.
going to get a flash card, John. It's 2022.
It sounds like they are collecting these games with their nice IPS screen.
Well, if they're collecting games, then they should buy a flash cart to supplement it anyways, and then they can try to find the games later on.
Get repros. Honestly, I've bought repros for a couple Pokemons because, man, I gotta say, Pokemon Emerald blew my absolute mind out of the back of my head, especially because I have that same screen. Super Mario Deluxe is really good. Yeah,
it's a super fun version. It's got mini games included only on this version.
I know. I have that too. I love it, man. I gotta say, the Final Fantasy games, all the Final Fantasies on Game Boy Advance.
Oh yeah,
those were good.
They were the first correct translations, and people forget that now. But they actually messed up tiny stuff when they were originally localizing it. That was the first time they actually corrected a lot of the typos and stuff.
Look, here's a nice Mega Man Battle Network 5 for $30. There you go. Nice, responsible suggestion.
Go in a dumpster and find it too for free.
Jeez.
Man, the Battle Network slander. Jeez. That collection's looking good though. You picking that up, right, Sean?
No.
Okay. Evan, you have another Discord question?
Any good games I can play on Android tablet while listening to podcasts or talking with someone? Just about anything repetitive without internet requirements.
Oh, without internet requirements? That's tough.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Get some emulators.
All the gotcha get. Well, I mean, if you have Wi-Fi though, right? Like, if you're listening to a podcast, I assume you have Wi-Fi.
No, he downloaded the podcast.
Oh, that's tough. Android games you can just download, because a lot of the gotcha games that are free to play, they always need internet connection because they want to try to sell you stuff and they want to check in on you and all these things. I think, okay, so with Android specifically, the problem is also the compatibility. We've had Grand Theft Auto games on there, like they moved them to tablets. Jet's Grind Radio was on there. They moved that to tablets.
What game was that?
Jet's Grind.
I was about to say Jet Set Radio, but I realized Jet Grind Radio is how they. I'm trying to remember how they. Well, I'm trying to remember how they sold it on the shop. I think they sold it as Jet Grind Radio, not Jet Set Radio. They have moved some of those games over, but you're talking like repetitive. I'm trying to think of any big RPGs they moved, because even Chrono Trigger, when they put that on phones, they made you do internet check-in with it. Just kind of annoying. Maybe the move might be emulators and ROMs. I don't know.
I think that's the best thing to do.
That might be the move, man. Hey, Mega Man Battle Network. There we go.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
You have another Discord question?
Last one. Which game that was announced to come out in 2023 do you feel is the most likely to get pushed to 2024?
Starfield.
You're still on the Starfield.
No way.
Man.
I actually agree with Sean.
Wow.
Starfield could get delayed.
No, delayed, but I don't think it's leaving 2023.
That would hurt Xbox bad if that turned into
out of everything. Out of everything announced, I think Starfield looks the sketchiest. Well, I mean, what else is there?
I mean, that trailer was 30 FPS.
Zelda seems dead set on that May. I think they're full speed ahead on that one. So that's out of the games that are like really large for 2023.
Yeah, it got rated, so it's done.
They're full speed ahead.
My fear, and I really don't even want to say this out loud to make it real, but man, Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2 Rebirth is coming out winter, and we've technically seen like 22 seconds of it. I don't know, man. I'm a little bit afraid that's going to get bumped to.
I could see that
February.
2024. Yeah, no, I think you might be on that. Yeah.
I think they made that. It could be 2024. I think that Final Fantasy 16 is going to do so well that I think it would be a problem if you had both of those in the same year. I think that's a bad idea, because I think Final Fantasy 16 is going to do extremely well. Even like the holiday discounts, people are going to be picking it up as more people get PS5. So I don't know what they were thinking having it that close. I think that's for that style of game. Now, some developers can do that, right? Some, maybe Ubisoft or some other developers. I know Nintendo does it sometimes. But I don't think for Final Fantasy that is a great idea to have those type of games like within 6 months of each other.
Yeah.
I mean, that's too close.
Yeah, 16 is going to do some massive business. Let's see. Do they have a date? They do. I'll say Capcom's Pragmata game.
Oh yeah. Did you see that?
It says 2023, but what do we know about it?
Did you see in Japan that's rated as like the 8th or 9th most hyped game in Japan? I'm like, we saw nothing. Pragmata is like so hyped in Japan.
I don't know what it is. Yeah, I don't even know what it necessarily is. It's just
cat in a spacesuit.
Near a dystopian near future and explore a unique lunar world. Coming 2023 is what they have listed. So I think that could end up in 2024. Is what I'll say. That's my guess on that one. So those all the Discord questions, Evan?
Yep, we're good.
Okay. That's our Christmas Eve show. Go around here real quick. Make sure everyone can remind everyone where they can find you. Let's start with Max, Dreamcast guy.
YouTube.com/Dreamcast guy. I guess pretty much taking the next month to just talk about some gaming news. I did a video talking about my favorite games of the year and the worst games of the year. Go watch that. I guess the next review is probably Dead Space in a couple weeks.
Huh? Go over here to OJ Player Essence. Congratulations, by the way, hit 100,000 subscribers.
Yeah, thanks guys. I appreciate
Congrats,
the support.
man.
Yeah, thank you guys for plugging me a few times as well. Appreciate that. Thanks for having me on the show. And 2023 is going to be hype for the channel. I got a lot of cool plans. I got some sponsors lined up for live streaming and stuff. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I've got a couple videos, some Switch, like if you're looking for different action RPGs or action games, like games that are coming out, big upcoming games that I released. And I'll have some more videos in that same vein as well. So if you're into that, also stream daily. And I have a giveaway going down, so make sure you guys check out that. Follow me on Twitter, giving away a lot of cool stuff. So thanks for having me on, John, and thanks happy holidays to everybody here. And hopefully you guys all have a great holiday.
You getting that plaque? Getting the plaque from YouTube?
Yeah, I spoke with my rep
nice.
or lady person, and she said I have to wait. I think it's 10 days before.
Okay.
So like
I said like verify.
Yeah, they verify. So 7 days. So 7 days
Exciting.
and then 10 days. Yeah, it's exciting. But yeah, big things planned for 2023. And once again, thank you guys, all of you guys here for helping me out because it took all of you guys. Shout outs to I want a special thanks obviously to Evan. Evan's art is incredible. His art is on my channel. So shout outs to Evan as well. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Okay, let's go to Sean.
You can find me on RGT85. This is going up Saturday.
It is.
So my Christmas special is already out. Go watch it. I hate myself for doing it, and it's a weird video.
What? Okay.
So like
Okay.
8% anal.
NASA conspiracy theories.
No, it's the playing of a game that everyone won't
Wow.
shut up about.
Word.
I reviewed
Yes.
it.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
Did you wear the king outfit the whole time?
No, I had several mental. I actually, it's funny. The whole video was just one take. I messed up one time in it where I said something. I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. But the whole thing was just one take. I sent it to Brett. I said, edit this for me. I said, just how you would envision this, and what we came up with is pretty good.
All right, cool. Yeah, go check it out. And we got MVG.
You can find me on Twitter at Modern Vintage G and YouTube Modern Vintage Gamer. I will have a video out on Monday, the last one of the year. I'm taking a little bit of a break as well to play
Must
some
be
games
nice.
and just chill. And I'll be back making content in early January, probably the first week of January. I'll be back. But happy holidays, everyone! And thanks for supporting the channel and supporting the Spawncast. It's been a fun year.
And Evan.
You can find me on Twitter at Kimmerix Project. I'm working to try to, I guess, relaunch for the fourth time my channel. I can't remember. I just got to get past the imposter syndrome, but it'll be fun. Hopefully.
Okay.
I just got a ton
Very
of
good.
recording done.
So you have a channel to plug soon in the okay.
I
Cool.
mean, I guess, yeah. It's tabletop
in the
stuff,
description.
which small cross section, I imagine.
Yeah, but it's like really cool looking figures and stuff, right? With all the art. No, okay.
And
Okay,
games
cool.
and whatnot. Yep.
Okay, very good. So we'll be back next weekend with another pre-recorded Spawncast since it is New Year's Eve. But maybe we'll do like a year in review or something unless some crazy stuff happens this week coming up. Otherwise, maybe we'll look back on the year and talk about some of the games that came out and all this. But thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll see you guys next weekend.